Hey there, CrossFit Deliverance athletes. Welcome to another Be Relentless vlog. Super excited to go ahead and essentially just touch all the little basics of that gym update number 2, right? A reminder about bringing Arrow on as our first full-time employee, first employee really period. Our air runners, our Fit 3D, the yoga program, the body boot camp program, taking the essentially add-on cost to the barbell club away, and then the relationship that we're building with Anthony, right? To essentially have him on a retainer, right? Know that a lot of these items that need more explanation that seemed very vague in that email is going to have separate emails, right? To go ahead and go into depth of what those are going to look like for the gym. It just wasn't appropriate to essentially send this gigantic update where you had to go through. It'll just come in separate ones that are segmented. So we're very excited about these things. If you have questions, know that you can either reply back to those emails or go ahead and just find myself or Amy. With that, guys, let's get into the programming. The program is going to be Karen tomorrow. That's all it is, right? This is going to be a max effort, single modality workout, 150 wall balls, 4 time. Heavy Karen is what I want you to do if you've ever done Karen sub 7. If you haven't done Karen around 7:30, 7 minutes before, and completed around that time frame, you need to go ahead and maybe stay away from Karen, the heavy Karen, and say, hey, cool, like I need to go faster, right, with good mechanics in Karen, right? You need to earn the ability to go ahead and lift that heavier wall ball and go through it, because a lot of times sometimes we go heavier and then all of a sudden we almost put a governor on ourselves because we never know how to actually go faster and find that pain cave. I think a lot of us accidentally go heavier because it gives us an excuse to move slower, right? So be careful in that, right? Now let's talk about a concept of something like Karen really flushes out the difference between a negative type of pain that your body's trying to send to your brain from whatever muscle or a body part or joint, of saying, hey, like mechanically something is off here and I'm yanking a tendon or ligament, or I'm straining a muscle like a pulled hamstring, or literally I'm just grinding and I'm overloading my kneecap because I'm driving my femur and by knee initiating the squat. There's a lot of different things, and that is your body being like, this is pain, this is something acute, this is something sharp, right? And then there's that gradual kind of increase of discomfort that can happen, right? Like that lactic acid buildup, or eventually like redlining, that whole concept of like, cool, I have a limiter with my heart, my lungs, and I'm contracting so hard all through my body to where I can't oxygenate my bloodstream, and then I'm having a hard time actually getting blood to the areas of the body that I need. So we need to go ahead and be able to start to separate those two stress responses that our brain essentially sends, because a lot of times those become intertwined, especially for individuals that are have not had high-level athletics before. It's hard to know, right? We need to start thinking about what those differences are. And sometimes people that have been in high-level athletics, they've either had not very good trainers or coaches or physios that haven't kind of held their hand and taught them this concept, and the whole idea of like no pain, no gain, right? Is like, no, there is certain pains, right, that we need to just say, cool, like we need to stop. There's something mechanically happening wrong, and if we don't fix this, it's going to become a catastrophic acute injury. Everything else is something where we need to go ahead and step into this other mindset that we're going to go into. So let's talk about we're going to go very broad strokes in terms of like the neurology behind essentially what your body's essentially like what your brain is reading of inputs from whatever your body's sending, and then you need to go ahead and filter through that. So let's talk about the concept of threshold training. Threshold training is when we go ahead, we work as hard as we can. There's going to be a point to where as we keep on working hard, it becomes more and more and more and more and more difficult, more and more difficult, and there's a point right before, if we go too hard, right, that things mechanically start to fall apart, or that literally we can only maintain it for a quick little 30-second boost, a 30-second period. Now, if it's like a 1 rep max Olympic lift, that type of intensity is completely fine. But if it's going to be something like a normal workout, we have to learn how we can stop right before that apex of this kind of power output curve. Because if we stop too early, right, we mesh out on the level of intensity that actually gets us the majority of our return on investment of working out. And a lot of us stop early and we never get to that apex of the curve or that top portion and right before we hit that apex, because we are not comfortable with that threat response that our body is sensing in our brain is sensing and getting that all the inputs from our body saying, hey, like, we have restricted airway, right? Because our lungs are being compressed because we're bracing so tight in a movement, and we're not able to oxygenate the bloodstream. We're not able to go ahead and get blood to the areas of the body because we're contracting the same muscle groups too hard. There's all these different things. And so we need to go ahead and learn how to, in a way, not turn it off completely, but understand, okay, my body's just giving me feedback, and I'm going to go ahead and choose to sort through it and push through that feedback. And that is what a lot of the times that coaches mean, hey, let's be mentally strong, keep with the positions, and keep on moving through it. And understand, like, hey, like, unless it's the category that I was talking beforehand, legitimately pain, something sharp, something's really negative, we need to learn how to train through that. And that allows us to get to that crescendo of that power curve, in a way, power output curve. And then that's where all of the gains are made, right? If we recover well. And that's a concept that we'll talk in the future about, because that's when recovery is when we actually rebuild muscle. Everything we do in the gym is all about tearing the muscle down, so then it has to rebuild itself in a better and stronger state. So my challenge for you is to go ahead, find a high level of discomfort, and then stay with that discomfort for as long as you can. And you just have to understand that discomfort that you're feeling is simply inputs from your body telling your brain that you're working really hard. And if anything, you need to try to retrain your brain and your mind and your just like how you have that outlook on it, and be like, okay, cool, I've reached the position that I need to be in, or the physiological state. Now I need to try to be there for as long as I can, right? But remember, if we go beyond that, right, on the other side of that power output curve, we understand that usually things start to break apart, right? So we need to find that little tipping point. Right? Really complicated a concept, guys. Hopefully I made it broad strokes, really generic, right? Enough for us to kind of understand the basic concept. If not, go ahead, hit me up in person, right? And we'll see how Karen goes, guys. Remember, be relentless in everything that you do. Keep on drinking your water, keep on cheering people on, and then I'll see you in the gym.